Hello and welcome back to Bicycle Legs and another edition of Anniversary Albums. Today we're going to be looking at albums that are having a significant anniversary in the month of May 2022. So for those of you who are new to the channel or new to this series, when I say a significant anniversary, I'm talking about one that ends in a 5 or a 0. So 40th anniversary, 35th, 50th, 55th, 25th, 20th, that sort of thing. So hopefully you'll get the gist as we go along. I've picked 10 albums. It was really hard to pick just 10 for this month, but I'm sure there will be plenty that I've left out that you'll want to mention in the comments, and please do, because I love reading the comments. Anyway, let's get into it. The first album we're going to talk about is having its 50th anniversary in the month of May. It was released on the 3rd of May 1972, and that is Thick as a Brick by Jethro Tull. Wonderful album, a response to the critics who said that his previous album, or their previous album, Aqualung, was a concept album. Ian Anderson said no, it wasn't. So he set out to make what he called the mother of all concept albums. And he absolutely did it with this album. It's one track, the whole album, split into two sides. I think it's absolutely fabulous. He was trying to have a little bit of fun at the expense of progressive rock. He ended up making a progressive rock masterpiece. The lyric is witty and funny and out there. The music is absolutely wonderful. Some of the very best music Jethro Tull ever did, in my humble opinion. The next album is having its 55th anniversary in the month of May. It was released on the 12th of May 1967, and that is the debut album by the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Are You Experienced? One of the best debut albums of all time. I don't think it can be argued otherwise. I mean, it's got just the classics on this album: Manic Depression, Foxy Lady, Are You Experienced, Fire. And then you've got other wonderful songs like Love or Confusion, Can You See Me, Third Stone from the Sun. Just a fabulous, fabulous album. What a statement of intent this album was from a new artist. Just absolutely fabulous. The next album is celebrating its 50th anniversary this month. It was released on the 12th of May 1972. And that is Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones. Another Stone Cold classic, probably my favorite Rolling Stones album of all time. It's between this and Sticky Fingers for me, probably. It's a fairly short double album. I think it only goes for about 65 minutes or thereabouts. But it's just a fabulous, fabulous album. I won't go through all the tracks, but just, I love this album to death. It's, you know, in the Stones' classic period that sort of started with Let It Bleed. Although I personally really like the earlier 60s Stones. I don't think that era gets enough love. But, you know, this is probably my favourite Stones album. The next album that I'm going to talk about is having its 40th anniversary this month. It was originally released on the 14th of May 1982, and that is Combat Rock by The Clash. Now, I know a lot of people don't think this is their best album, and I would be inclined to agree. I think the first three are just unbeatable. You know, The Clash, Give 'Em Enough Rope, and London Calling. I even really like Sandinista, even though it's a triple album set and it's sort of like all over the place. This album's a single. It's much more focused. It's definitely more commercial. It made them big stars in the US. I mean, it has the smash hits Should I Stay or Should I Go and Rock the Casbah, but it's got other really good songs on it too. Know Your Rights, Ghetto Defendant, Death is a Star, Red Angel, Dragnet. There's really good songs on this album. I think it's a good album. I think it's a worthy Clash album. I'm not sure that it could be said for the next and last Clash album, Cut the Crap, but I like this album. The next album we're going to be talking about is having its 50th anniversary in the month of May. It was released on the 19th of May 1972, and that is Honky Chateau by Elton John. One of my favourite Elton John albums. I don't know which one's my absolute favourite, but this would be right up there. Turned him from a star into a superstar, especially in the United States, because it had the massive, massive hit Rocket Man on it. It's also got Honky Cat, which was a big hit for him, but it's also got wonderful other songs. Mona Lisa's and Manhattans is still, a regular in his set lists. I think I'm going to Kill Myself is a surprisingly up-tempo song for the title. Salvation's a great song. Hercules, he ended up taking Hercules as his middle name when he legally changed his name. So, wonderful album. And the next album was also released on the 19th of May 1972, so it's also having its 50th anniversary, and that is Demons and Wizards by Uriah Heep. Now, I've only just recently been getting into Uriah Heep, and that's a real shame for me because I've been missing out on a lot of good music for a long time. But you can't listen to everything all the time, and I'm glad I've gotten into them now. I don't know whether this is my favourite or whether Look at Yourself is my favourite so far. I haven't obviously heard all of the Uriah Heep albums. I know a lot of people tend to think those two are the best, or Magician's Birthday gets mentioned as well. I think this is a great album. Really glad I'm into it. I don't know which songs are my favourites yet because, again, this is only, I've probably only owned this album for a year. So, still getting into Heep, enjoying what I like, what I've heard so far. Really, really liking it. The next album's another debut album. It was released 45 years ago in the month of May. It was originally released on the 20th of May 1977, and that is In the City by The Jam. Wonderful band, The Jam. I know Martin Popoff says The Jam were the mod revival. There really weren't any other bands that sort of broke through from that mod revival, and he's probably right about that. This is probably, having said that, they came out originally in the middle of the sort of punk explosion, and there was definitely an edge of punk to their music. They weren't a punk band themselves. This is probably their punkiest album, though, because this is their first one. They certainly didn't dress like punks with their suits and ties, but wonderful album. Art School, I've Changed My Address, cover of Slow Down, the cover of the Batman theme, which is a lot of fun. In the City's a great song. Sounds from the Street. Yeah, just a wonderful, wonderful album. Great debut. Again, a band really sort of announcing their intent on their first album. Definitely not a tentative first album like some are. The next album is celebrating its 35th anniversary in the month of May. It was originally released on the 25th of May 1987, and that is Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me by The Cure. Now, we recently did an episode about favourite Cure albums over on The Contrarians. If you ever want to see where I've made appearances on other channels, I do have a playlist of those episodes from places like The Contrarians or Utah Outcasts or anywhere else that I may have made an appearance. I almost went with this as one of my 3 Cure albums that I wanted to talk about. I ended up going with The Head on the Door instead for that particular period of The Cure. But I so could easily have gone with this. I mean, it's got 2 massive hits on it with Why Can't I Be You and Just Like Heaven. It definitely sort of continues on with that sort of pop Cure sound, but it also dips back into the sort of the psychedelic sound that they explored on their much underrated album, The Top, which I might even do an episode of in defense of at some stage on The Top, because I think that album doesn't get the respect that it deserves. I think it's a wonderful album. I think this is a wonderful album. I mean, it's got Torture, it's got The Kiss, it's got 1,000 Hours, The Perfect Girl. It's a sprawling album, but I like that about it. I like that it goes in a lot of different directions. The next album we're going to talk about is having its 55th anniversary in the month of May. It was originally released on the 26th of May 1967. It is the second album by the Mothers of Invention, Absolutely Free. Very early Mothers, coming just after Freak Out and just before my favourite Mothers, and in fact any Zappa album, which is We're Only In It For The Money, which is always going to be my favourite Zappa album, I think. But this one is a really good album too. The songs that I always think of with this album that always make me smile are Call Any Vegetable and Brown Shoes Don't Make It. But the whole album it's split into two sort of mini rock operas or whatever, although very much done tongue-in-cheek because that's the Zappa way. It's a great album. It's not one I go to as often as the ones immediately before and after it, but I really should rectify that. I should listen to this album more because it is a really good album. But there's so much Zappa to listen to. He put out such a massive amount of music. Now, the last album I want to talk about is going to be controversial, not because of the album itself, because I think everybody will admit it's a stone cold classic, but it's the fact that I'm including it in May rather than June. But May is the actual physical hit the shops release date as opposed to the scheduled release date, which was in June. And that is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles, which was rush released on the 26th of May 1967, despite having a scheduled release date of the 1st of June. They ended up, Parlophone and EMI ended up rush releasing it into the stores because it was starting to get some radio play. They wanted people to be able to buy it straight away, so it ended up hitting the stores on the 26th of May, and that's why I'm including it in the May show rather than the June show. What can be said about this album that hasn't already been said? I mean, just look at the tracks just on side one. This is just side one. You have Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, With a Little Help From My Friends, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Getting Better, Fixing a Hole, She's Leaving Home, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite. I mean, every single one of those songs is a Beatles stone cold classic. And that's just side one. Incredible album. Not my favourite Beatles album. Probably not even in my top 3 or 4, but that just goes to show, for me anyway, the absolute quality of the Beatles catalogue, especially sort of from Rubber Soul onwards. Just unbeatable music for me. I am an unapologetic Beatles file. I will love them to death to the day I die. Anyway, that is my 10 anniversary albums for the month of May 2022. Please let me know in the comments which one of these are your favourites. Please let me know in the comments why I'm wrong to be including Sgt. Pepper here. I should be including it in June. Please let me know which ones I left out, because I know I left out some really good albums. So again, remembering that I go with significant anniversaries ending in a 5 or a 0. I love hearing in the comments what you have to say, which ones you like, which ones you don't like, which ones I've forgotten that you think I should have included. If you please like, share and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. If you're new to the channel, please have a look at some of my other videos. I have all my videos playlisted now, so if you want to go and look at some of my other anniversary album show, there's a playlist for that. If you want to look at my studio albums ranked, there's a playlist for that. My In Defense Of videos, playlist for that. Favorite albums, playlist for that, etc, etc. All the shows that I do on the channel have their own playlist. So you can easily access anything there if you want to watch some of my other videos. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm at bicyclelegs on both Instagram and Twitter. Instagram, I mostly post the records that I'm listening to, as well as channel updates. On Twitter, I talk about anything and everything, but I am definitely trying to give that more of a music focus. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.